Hi, welcome to another Healthy Gamer video. I am really excited to be back now that I'm home and have internet access. I'll be putting out new videos every day again. We're going to start it off with this crit stacked build. It's quite a bit of fun. You get to see some really fun numbers. And did I mention that is fun? Alright, I'll start off by explaining the thought process behind the build, then I'll show you my equipment and stats, and then I'll show you the skills I'm using, and then you'll get to see some actual in-game footage. The idea here is to stack your critical hit chance as high as you can and also get your critical hit damage multiplier as high as you can. This will massively increase your DPS. I think I increased my DPS by 3 or 4 times at least from what I was using before, and I went from struggling in Act 2 to doing pretty well in Act 3, so I think this is definitely a great way to go. It's a little bit expensive. You'll probably have to spend a good 10 to 15 million to get a good item set. For Act 3, I think if you spent 5 to 8 million, you could probably get enough items to do Act 2 comfortably. So now I'll just show you the items. The important slots you want to look for are the slots that have the critical hit or critical hit damage modifier. Couldn't think of the word. Modifier. And those slots are your weapon, your shield, your gloves, your helmet, your amulet, and your rings. And then I'll just go through very quickly and show you what I have. Weapon, you can see the DPS isn't too high, but it has nice critical hit damage and dexterity. I try not to spend too much money on it. I think this was around 2 million. The shield, again, you want to find a shield with really high critical hit chance. Your shield has the highest critical hit chance modifier off any items. Your helmet, you want to get critical hit chance again, and a socket. Your amulets and rings, the best ones are ones with hit chance and attack speed and plus life, but those can get really expensive. So if you're on poverty status, just get critical hit chance if you can, and then think of those other stats as a bonus. And now your gloves, again, the best ones would have attack speed as well, but as you can see, mine only has critical hit damage and critical hit chance, but it works for me. So you don't need to break the bank buying these 20 and 30 million items to do well with this build. My stats, I have 1558 dexterity, 25 I always have trouble saying these numbers, I don't know why. 25.8k damage, let's see, 42% crit, and critical hit damage increased by 203%. My life is at 39,000, I think I said that right. All resists are 51%, and dodge is sitting at 43% unbuffed. Skills, you want to use Fists of Thunder as your primary attack with the Lightning Flash rune. That increases your dodge by 16%. This build revolves around critical hit chance and then your dodge percent. Sweeping Wind with a Cyclone. You'll see this in action. The Cyclone with a high crit chance does a ridiculous amount of DPS. I think it does way more than Bladestorm when you're at 35+% crit chance. Blinding Flash, that just is a little bit of a good interrupts, and that 30% damage for 3 seconds can make for some really great burst damage. It's good for those mobs that like to run away as well. Serenity, just your standard fare. Breath of Heaven, increasing your attack by 15%. Mantra of Evasion, I like to spam this a lot, use this as my spirit dump as long as my Sweeping Wind is up. My Breath of Heaven is up, my Blinding Flash is on cooldown, I'll use Mantra of Evasion just for that added dodge. And then passive, Seize the Initiative, increasing your armor by your dexterity, 6 cents, and 1 with everything. And let me just show you, so my dodge is at 43% unbuffed. I'll hit Mantra of Evasion, it's at 59%, and then when I actually use my Fists of Thunder with Mantra of Evasion, it gets up to 65%, and you can see armor mitigation here is 71%, so that's pretty good mitigation there. Now I'll just show you some of the in-game footage in action. Right here, finding some elite packs. You can see all those little tornadoes spawning off from my sweeping wind. It's every time you crit, you'll spawn one of those tornadoes. It goes in a random direction, and then it'll zap any enemies nearby for 20% of your weapon DPS. And the range on those is actually pretty good. You can see they're zapping from way far away, and look at how many spawn at a time. So it's pretty ridiculous. Like I said earlier, I like to start off the fights using that blind. It gives you some nice, just a nice damage boost, and it also is a nice interrupt, especially when there's big groups of mobs around you. So you can use that, pop that, kill off a few of those mobs, and then go on so you're not taking massive amounts of damage. And then as my spirit dump, I like to use Mantra of Evasion. You know, as long as I'm alive and I don't need heals or need to pop my Serenity and blind's not up, then I like to pop that Mantra of Evasion for the extra dodge, which is really nice. With this build, it's a little bit of a glass cannon, so you do need to kite quite a bit. Just keep an eye on your hit points, keep an eye on your cooldowns. With some of the more difficult mob packs, it's good to kite around until your Serenity is up, and then use your Serenity. Yep, there we go. Dead. Expect to die a few times, especially as you get used to playing around with this build, but if you're in Act 3, you're probably used to dying all the time, so that shouldn't be an issue. I found in these parts I was able to do pretty well against everything except for those little gargoyles and the flame caster guys. Both of those shoot the fireballs at you, and you really have to just be on your toes and dodge those fireballs because they seem to kill me the most. It seemed like I could tank the melee guys' hits pretty well, but if I got hit by a few fireballs and I wasn't paying attention, they would usually cause me to die. And now for your healthy gaming tip. This is going to be about motivating yourself to go work out. Sometimes you'll find that you just don't want to go to the gym, and that's pretty natural. Everybody has that. And one of the good ways to get through that demotivation is to take it just one step at a time. You know, what do you need to do to go to the gym? Okay, I need to put my shoes on. Go do that. Put your shoes on. Alright, what do I need? I need to grab my keys. Just do those little steps, and you'll build up the momentum, and then you'll make it there. And once you're at the gym, you know, you'll be there, so you might as well work out. So that's a little tip. Whenever I feel tired and demotivated, I don't try to think of all of the things I have to do at the gym. I just think of, alright, go put my shoes on, and then get going. Alrighty, thanks for watching. You can find more Diablo 3 and Monk guides at thehealthygamer.com, and keep an eye out. There's going to be a ton of new content coming out. Lots of new videos.